In my presentation, I'm going to go over the concept of peace in poems. My name is Peyton Wagner. All right, peace is a sense of calm that takes over the mind, a content feeling about life. I'm going to be using the poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. He passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dew drew, quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before the house that seemed a swelling in the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first summoned the horses, heads were toward eternity. What does the poem mean? The poem shows how fast life goes by. It also shows how death does not need to be scary and can be peaceful in a carriage ride. Seeing all the beautiful and fun experiences on the way to death is an amazing way to celebrate life. The organization and structure of the poem is organized into 6 stanzas in a quatrain. In the quatrain are written in common meter while using both iambic tetrameter and iambic trimeter. The poem uses an ABCB rhyme scheme. The setting and speaker are shown in the poem as a woman who is passed and is on her way to the burial. She is described wearing a dress made of tulle and gossamer, which shows that she is a woman. The setting is in the carriage while driving through the town as life flashes through her mind. Figures of speech in the poem are personification. Death is presented as a polite coachman who drives the carriage. A metaphor is also just the whole poem about her life to death journey. There are many symbols in this story. One of the first are the carriage ride, showing how it transitions stress without any stress to her death. The school is an example of her early childhood. The field of gazing grain is an example of the peak of adulthood, and the setting sun is an example of the life ending and how fast it goes by. There is imagery in this poem, and it is a lot of descriptions as like her dress, the dress made of gossamer and a tippet made of tulle. It also describes how it is peaceful by no haste and the setting sun. The tone of the poem is peaceful and gentle. Some of these words, kindly, leisurely, and no haste, show exactly how peaceful and relaxing it could be. It shows the tone of the poem is purely about the enjoyment of the ride. Some of the sound devices are alliteration. For example, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle, labor and leisure, and at recess in the ring. The poem's theme is how death is not to be feared, but welcomed, and to live life to the fullest. The historical information is mostly about Emily Dickinson, and she actually wrote over 1,800 poems before her death, but it is hard to pinpoint when exactly they were written because she was passed on already. Here are some examples of concepts of peace. In this story, it's a short story called Finding Peace in a Dog Named Cheeseburger by Marion Bond West. In the story, Marion takes inspiration from a homeless man named Johnny and a dog named Cheeseburger to trust in the universe, and it helps her find peace. A lot of you know the speech, I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is known for his I Have a Dream speech, and the theme of the speech is peace. He's not afraid to speak and represent people who cannot speak for themselves. I actually chose the Hunger Games movie directed by Gary Ross. In the Hunger Games, the main character's name is Katniss. She's chosen to go into the Hunger Games and fight for her life. Although the movie is about danger, Katniss' mindset is peaceful, knowing that she will either die in the Hunger Games or not have to live in poverty. She could win and be able to take care of her family, but she is not afraid of death. I also chose the song We Want Peace by Lenny Kravitz. In the song, Lenny Kravitz uses repetition to show how much peace is needed in the world to make it better. He repeats "We want peace" over and over, and he's not afraid to speak up about the unfortunate circumstances of war. I chose another poem by Emily Dickinson, is I Dwell in Possibility. In this poem, Dickinson writes about how she has found peace in the people she surrounds herself with. For example, of visitors, the fairest, for occupation this, the spreading wide my narrow hands to gather paradise. She's gathering the people she loves in her hands because she found peace in them. Here is my concept poem. Peace is white. It smells like sunshine. It tastes like fresh baked bread. For fun it likes to dance. Night makes peace happy. It is smaller than an ant, but bigger than the sun. War is its worst enemy. Sleep is its best friend. Peace keeps sadness in a secret place. Its favorite place is home. Its least favorite place is in clutter. Peace makes me content. And here is my works cited. I will also be adding a link to the whole presentation. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know.